Good afternoon. We are going to be doing AMA. Ask me anything. Basically, just kind of wanted to fire up a stream. Whenever, sometimes, which is often, when I am just I don't really see anything or hear anybody that is engaging in one form or another. I just fire up a stream. And a lot of times, I suggest if you are a YouTuber starting out or whatever, just do that because a lot of times people they they probably have the same issue that you have, and they don't some people don't have a channel, so just firing up a stream, it kind of helps people have some type of escape to whatever you know um whoever's out there is you know has their boring stream, non-engaging stream up. And one of the things I'll say is that I know a lot of people have not done the work as far as they have people have these clicks on YouTube as far as the podcast space, uh, and it's the cyber world and the real world. It's the same way. People have clicks. People have their little cliques that they are in. Some people even say I would be in a clique, but I mean, at the end of the day, uh, nobody pay my bills but me. Okay, so I don't really have any cliques per se. I mean, maybe I would, if I, I don't know, I had some type of support system, which I don't. So I don't know. A lot of times, what people think in their head, and a lot of people have unresolved issues. Men also suffer from narcissism. Some narcissism can be very, very extreme to the point where people, um, you know, they just it's basically they have put people in a box as far as they don't like a particular person, whatever the case may be. And it's fine. At the end of the day, I'll say this. This is what I'll say. A lot of people that have certain issues, as far as I'll say psychological issues, mental issues, those issues will play out in real world, real time. They will put you in a box within yourself to where you will never really grow financially. You won't grow as far as whatever ambitions you have with YouTube, or even the off of YouTube. Because one thing I'll tell you about business, business it is people in business that tried that too, where they did not like particular types of people or an entire ethnicity or whatever. And then when they were quoted as saying certain things, basically those particular brands or companies were boycotted. I can run off a couple things, couple companies. One, Wrigley. Wrigley was quoted long time ago as saying he don't want basically ninjas chewing his gum, and the word got out about that, and then a lot of basically those same ninjas, most of them did not chew his gum, and that was a steep kind of concern and drop in sales. and he had to come out and say no. He had to butter that situation up. And to think, okay, Wrigley at the time he was very rich. At that time I'm sure he probably was a multimillionaire. At that time, if you were a millionaire, that would be probably today the equivalent of being, a billionaire or over $100 million. If you had like basically, let's say 10 million to $100 million, 1950, 1960s, you would be that would be equivalent to today's money, that's having like a billion or close to $1 billion. So one thing I do know is business. I know a lot of people have never had a business, and it does take a lot to start a business. It is not necessarily something that's easy. So a lot of people won't have the wherewithal to even start a business. And one thing, again, I'll say as far as actually running a business and everything like that, one of the things that people do fail is not being able to, you know, sell to everyone. People have favorites, and they have certain uh, biases towards certain types of people. They might have biases to their, own people and all of that type of stuff. And in business, the goal is to make money, and you really want to make money from everybody that you can, as long as they're not giving you a hard time, as long as they're not being annoying, extremely annoying. Uh, just bothersome. Like for example, I'll tell a story as far as when I had my computer shop. It's about probably the first year I opened, and this guy he was an ex-con, and he did time in prison for basically the R word, which is rape. And what this dude was doing was he was going on a CTA and basically doing those acts on the CTA, primarily the train station. He would catch women by themselves late at night, early in the morning. He got caught, and he had to do a sizable amount of time in prison. Well, he eventually got out, um, and he bought a computer from me, um, and it was like a desktop, I believe. And he was just, I could tell he was just being extremely annoying. And then also, it was a dude that I knew, that he was in prison with this guy, and he kind of gave me the skinny on who this guy actually was and what he actually did in detail. And basically, to tell me this dude is, basically bad news, you know. So over the course of time, I found out that, okay, this guy is extremely annoying, extremely bothersome. He, has this issue, that issue. He wants me to do all of these different things as far as setting his computer up and all that. So after a while, I decided that I was going to give him his money back for the computer. And after that, I saw him come back to my store and then give me the same issues and just try to. I mean, no, I think he came back to like, no, he didn't buy. I don't think he bought anything else, but he came back to my store and was like asking me questions, and I basically gave him the basically um, just inclination that I really didn't care about him buying anything from me. I didn't want to do business with him anymore. I could care less. And he caught wind of that, and he eventually just stopped coming to my store. And it's like, it just goes into all money ain't good money. But the thing is that a lot of people give people that same um impression or whatever, and nobody did anything to them. As far as I know, like as far as, I guess, maybe somebody said something bad that hurt their feelings. You really don't really have to do much to hurt people's feelings nowadays. One of the things that I found out on this channel that I really didn't discover till a lot later is that when you really focus in on people's financial deficiencies, you find out that that alone will hurt people's feelings. Because basically you're telling people to go against the matrix. You could call it the financial matrix. When you tell people to basically go against the matrix, and not I might have not been very vocal. I don't know. I'll hear this on a playback, but I didn't even have my headphone down as far as my mic. But hopefully the playback is not bad. I'll just keep on going. But basically, just going against the financial matrix of using credit to live a certain lifestyle that you could not do without credit, which most people do. It's a standard in America, you could say. It's what's built America. We all know what happened to 2008. Or if you didn't know, there was a credit crunch. Actually, banks were basically pulling back financial loans. They were pulling people's credit cards. They were very scared about what was going on economically in the country that times, and they changed the laws as far as mortgages. A lot of things would change that a lot of people don't know. If you were younger, you don't understand what 2008, basically how that affects 2023. A lot of things would change after that mortgage collapse in 2008. So basically, a lot of people still live within that financial matrix. Um, People that are not in that financial matrix is very, very small as far as people that don't really use credit like that. People that understand the games and tricks that is played with people that use what I call rich people's money. They, get taken advantage of. They get severely in debt. They get on a repetitive cycle of paying their money out every month for things that could have been. It's a possibility that you could avoid. Like, it is some things that it is also avoidable, but you do have to do quite a bit of work. Not much, but you do have to pay. You have to pay taxes. I mean, you really can't get out of paying taxes. Taxes is like something civically that you have to pay. But you can now, like I say, I put different, information about using wood instead of gas or even propane to heat your house. Um, some people, I remember this one house that I was trying to buy back in like 2005. And of course, I was, yeah, I wasn't, it wasn't like I was rolling in cash, okay? But I remember this one house, it was like kind of it was outside of the suburbs going into like kind of rural area. It was in Stager, Illinois. So they use well water, which is basically you have to get a water softener. And It had one already, but one of the things that I liked about the house was this house had multiple fireplaces. It had like three, I think three fireplaces. And the reason that is because one of the things about a fireplace is that it does heat up the room that it's in. It absolutely will heat up the room. It's not as good as a wood stove as far as heating, but it will heat up a room. And one of the things about even a wood stove, as well as the fireplace is not going to heat up the entire house. Wood stove, if it's an open room and it's no walls, yeah, you could probably heat up an entire house. But the thing is, with the wood stove, with houses, most modern houses are sectioned off into rooms, so it is not gonna heat up the entire house. So the thing is that you have multiple fireplaces, or even some people have, I'm sure, multiple wood stoves in their house. It basically can heat up multiple rooms. So this house had like three fireplaces, and that's a way where you could save on, heating bills. A lot of people live, where it's cold. Right today it's snowing. It's like light furries. It's gonna, it's getting colder. Snow is an indication that the temperature is below freezing. So that, is pretty cold. So I mean, yeah, you could get solar panels. You can get a solar panel system, and then that can get you to a position where you don't have to worry about any electricity bills. Even some people, they get a surplus of electricity, so the electrical company gives them credits, basically toward their electric bill. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things, this might be hard to avoid, but it's possible. One of those things you cannot probably most likely avoid is taxes. You cannot avoid taxes. Taxes, you got to pay your taxes. Okay, for obvious reasons. I'm not going to even go into that. But mortgages are harder to avoid. I will say it is hard to avoid paying a mortgage. Depending on where you live, it's even harder. Yet, it is possible. You might have to move to a different state, but it is possible that you can avoid to basically pay a mortgage. What's going on, Iori? I'm just basically just talking about kind of the perceptions of how people are. These people have these cliques where they think their clique is popping, and they, if you're not in their clique, you're the opposite clique, they already have some type of deep sentiment towards you or whatever. I mean, I really, to be honest, I stand on my own. Most people do not. It doesn't matter. Most people do not want to talk about how the fact that they do not have any money to really pay their mortgage. Okay, that's a fact. That's a universal fact. Most people do not want to talk about how they're really just capping on the internet. They're not doing well and they don't want to tell you about it. They're okay. I'll admit it's probably a lot of people that are okay. But okay means that you got enough to pay your mortgage this month. Okay. You have a quality job, you have skill sets that can pay the bills. You're doing all right. But things can happen. You gotta understand, right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm a brainiac. I could work in IT. I can I can do a lot of different things. But what happens if I get in a fucking car accident and then I goddamn it lose a third of my brain activity or something? Or what happens if I get a stroke and I lose half of my, brain function? Then what? Then how can I be, um, working in my field or, be the top tech? I mean, it's gonna be almost impossible for me to do so. But if I made the right decisions, because it's chess, not checkers, I've got a house or two or three. I've taught my children how about housing, about business, about how to do certain things. I pick well, so I got me a decent wife to, basically, help me out, and then, what I'm saying, keep things grounded. I mean, I still, I could, try to get some type of motor functions back. I mean, hopefully after a while, after uh, physical therapy and such. But basically, that's not a guarantee. There's no guarantees in life other than if you're currently living that, unfortunately, one day you're going to die. And of course, you can, pretty much put taxes in there too. But if you make enough money, your taxes is, you could, if you have, like, say, a property and it's pretty well renovated, people will want to rent it out. They'll pay for those taxes for you. Okay. You know, you it's a lot of ways you can pay taxes and have it. You can get a government contract, uh, and then you use that money to pay your taxes. I mean, you'll have the government paying the government. I mean, so the thing is that needs to say, yeah, that's what people. Um, that's all you got to talk about, and then people will give you the side eye. People will be angry because at the end of the day, people. This is what people tend to do. They tend to be more angry at the reality and somebody speaking of the reality other than the actual reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at this, right? So, and this is. I had to say this is like I had to realize this with the whole savings minus debt guy. How can I hate this dude talk calling people? I mean, way he was way worse than I was, but he probably had more support than I did. But the thing is that, I mean, it ain't no probably, it's guaranteed. But he pretty much had people fuming, just like they were just did not like this dude. I mean, he took the smoke, but how can you hate somebody telling people that you a slave because you got a whole bunch of debt and you like debt. You're very comfortable with holding debt and not be angered more by the actual debt. I'll repeat it again. How can you be more angry about somebody saying you're broke, try to get unbroke, or try to get your life together, sort out some things? How can you get angry about that, but you got debt and you got all these expensive trinkets and expensive vehicles and houses and luxury apartments and whatever that you pay for every month and you pay dearly for, and making somebody else rich? That message should be directed. I don't care how you could do it, like meditation, therapy, whatever, to be redirected towards the actual debt, towards the actual person in the mirror that signed up for that shit, that is pretending to be somebody you're not because you're trying to fit in with other people that's broke, that's got all of these debts, all of these problems. And then, black people really have that bad. Black people have that really, really bad. I won't say in a sense that they have it bad. Then Like white people tend to commit suicide when they get broke. Okay, that's a fact. They say they tend to either one commit suicide or two commit some type of murder to get some life insurance or something like that to get some type of money or whatever, defraud someone or whatever. Um, I'm not gonna say that's something that black people do. Black people tend to, if they do anything, they probably would do some fraud or scamming, but they're not gonna commit suicide because they got broke. Because a lot of times black people are kind of more used to being broke because a lot of us are. Unfortunately, you a lot of black people come from families where things were normal, lies, having debt was normal, being broke was normal. All of these things were normal. And it's like, getting broke again, sad, but probably just go get some liquor, you know, get comfortable and cozy in your new apartment after you done foreclosed, your house got foreclosed on, and then, smoke a blunt and then go to sleep. you know yeah, and I mean, of course, that does fuel some anger. That reality does fuel some anger, but life does go on. White folks, it's very, very competitive, and when they get broke, it really is embarrassing because, to be honest, let's just keep it all the way a stack. The one of the reasons that white people, the luxury of being white in America, is that you actually do have money to enjoy being white. When you don't have money to enjoy being white in America, it really does not. It sucks. I'm sure. And having to go from a high point to where you was making a lot of money, and then you were able to take care of your family and everything like that. Then now you're not able to take care of it. You're broke and you got to file bankruptcy. All of that embarrassment, all of that struggle, the burden. It just, they look at it kind of like a Japanese warrior. They want to commit, forgot the term, but they want to, just kind of take themselves out. I mean, I understand it to a certain degree. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do understand it. You know, um, it's a hard life. When you haven't made the right decisions, you don't have any money, you don't have any family to prop you back up, put you back on your feet. You don't have any understanding, you don't have any faith, you don't have any tools to get through that. Or it might even be impossible, damn near, to get through that. If you got $10 million in debt, $1 million in debt. But you'll be hard pressed. You'll be surprised what you can overcome. It's a lot of things that you can overcome that's probably harder than making millions of dollars. One of those things I would probably have to say is like probably cancer, some type of debilitating illness, serious illness. Overcoming that probably is harder than making a million or more dollars. A lot of times you'll be surprised how easy it is to make $1 million too, if you can really tap into it. If you really like extreme about it, you can do it. And I mean, that's why people come over here from other countries. This is the place to do it if you're going to do it. This is the place. So again, I mean, that's kind of what I see as far as what people do. But um, the thing is that what you got to understand is you're one man or woman going against the entire world, and then you're going against multinational companies, extremely aggressive multi-billion-dollar companies, and it's gonna be hard to beat those people. Meaning, if you think that you're gonna have one up against them and you're gonna have a chance, and they're not gonna protect their interests, you got another thing coming. You got an absolute another thing coming, and even just to protect your mind, body, and your soul, it's very, very, it's very much something deeper than just even just the aspect of money and debt. Your mind, body, and soul. If your soul's fucked up, you're gonna do all kind of stupid shit. You're gonna be doing, just all kind of weak shit when you don't have your mind, body, and soul in alignment. And it is people that's stronger than other people, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know, and a lot of times those people, um, they're like, um in a different position in life. A lot of times those people are sort of kind of like gurus that teach other people, to be more sharpened and whatnot. But it's a lot of things that people are trying to, that are falling into because society, one thing you forgot about people, you know, um, people are humans, they're animals, and they would, people are, in a sense, out to get you. Everybody's out to get everybody else. They're out to get something from everybody else. They want something. They have something that they want from you. Whether it's just even your words, your knowledge, your insight, your money. They want your woman. They want your house. They want your car. You know, I mean, they may even want your clothes, certainly want your jewelry, so people are very, very much predatory. um Everybody has something that they want from somebody else, and that's natural. That's part of being an animal, a human. It's just, I would say, the takeaway from that is, as long as it's beneficial, you got something I want, I got something you need. You know what I'm saying? We can barter and trade. And that's the takeaway from that. Now, when it's somebody that they just want to take and take and take and not give anything, that's a parasite. Okay. And a lot of times people involve themselves with parasitic people, and they wonder why they don't get ahead. They wonder why they're miserable. They wonder why, things are always a problem. And it's, just not a healthy situation to be with. Okay. So, you gotta make sure you choose wisely, because people always will tell you after the fact. They'll push, "Oh, okay, it's okay to do this and, be this way," but then when you choose that route, they make fun of you for getting in trouble, being that way or whatever. You be a hoe, teach people, talk about be a hoe, and then you get pregnant and be a baby mama, and have some STDs. Then they laughing at you. But these are the same people that, wanted you to be a hoe. I mean, Tyrese is online talking about, his baby mama, I mean, his ex-wife. She was listening to her friends. Her friends was telling her basically to give up her man, her husband, and she fell for it because she was weak. She's weak, and she realized that she was basically, preyed upon, and people exploited her weakness. And basically, you play Justin Timberlake, cry Cry me a river, or it's too late. I was playing that yesterday. Too late by the weekend. It's too late now. You know what I'm saying? You gotta eat what is called, the old people call, eat crow. You gotta eat crow. Because you made a decision. You didn't understand how the world is not soft. you know, some of the world is soft, but a lot of the world is rigid. So it's like, yeah, I mean, people are very, very, very fragile. You know, a lot of times I often think about stoicism. I'm watching football right now, and these guys, a lot of them are stoics. In order to play that game, they have to be. They have to deal with people constantly trying to injure them, basically, on any given play. You have to be strong to deal with that type of life and to play that game. I played that game in the Navy, and then I was trying out for this semi-pro league when I was in Champaign. I was playing there, and that's when I realized I was good at football. I was good at chasing the quarterback and knocking him on his back. And when I realized that, I was like, damn, because I was 6'3", over 200 pounds, and just basically fast, because I basically I'm a track star basically, but I never played track. I remember the track coach in my high school asked me all 4 years to run track, and I never ran track. And I kind of, it's one of the biggest regrets I have probably in high school. I didn't run track, but I knew I was fast. He knew I was fast. Um, my mother used to run track, so genetically I'm fast. Um, so yeah, I found out I was good at it, and the thing is that playing football, one play you could be nursing an injury for the rest of the season. You have to be a stoic to deal with that. You have to be you have to be able to deal with pain. And unfortunately, life is pretty painful. Some people try to run from it, try to numb it with drugs. And don't get me wrong. To a certain degree, certain things that I think people consider drugs, I don't necessarily consider. Even states have overturned these laws, like for example, marijuana. I don't think marijuana is a drug. I mean, some people have arguments against that. Okay, I'm for it. I'm for it, but I don't think marijuana is per se a drug. Okay, alcohol, yeah, you got me on that. You got me on that. I'll give you that. But I don't, alcohol is totally legal. So okay, they had a prohibition in the 1930s. It's pretty interesting time. 1920s, 1930s, bootlegging, and all of that. What's going on, cartel? You said you should do call-in shows sometimes. Oh, like, I mean, what do you mean by call-in shows? Like, are you talking about like have it where people call me on a phone call, like the Star Report? Is that what you're talking about? What's going on, Alonzo? I saw a couple of your videos earlier, Alonzo. um, I think Alonzo, for you, this is what I was gonna try to tell you is that you might have to circle the wagons and kind of do what you was doing before, which was having a panel format, and then maybe occasionally, because I do know you do need the type of um you need the type of Like some people are into panels, some people are not. If you're probably not into it, you do need you need to be, have the headspace to deal with that because you're dealing with multiple personalities, dealing with people that's got all kind of viewpoints, and then they like to argue and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you need to, kind of go back to the panels, and then um, you should join other people's panels. Um, you know, and basically, you a smart guy like myself need to go around people that are maybe not as smart, so you could look like a basically a financial genius, and then maybe occasion like, okay, here's the thing, right? So then I do agree with this, but I don't necessarily do it, but I think it's a good idea. So um the rapper, he's in the Power book. um his name is Joey Badass. Joey Badass says he spends about 30%, like he splits it into thirds. He spends 33% of his time talking to people that's like kind of on a below average type of deal, whatever. He spends a third of his times with people that is on his same level, and then he spends another third of his time with people that are above his level. So he spreads that out, you know what I'm saying, evenly or whatever. I don't necessarily do that. I just kind of like, I kind of understand that it's certain people that they just don't really, I think they just want to stay to themselves. They want to, the 87 octane guys and girls, they want to stay with the other people just like them. They really don't want to be challenged, or they don't want anybody, coming up to challenge them. They just kind of want to, I call it like trucker talk. They just they just want to, just stay with that type of thing and just kind of just go with that and stay with that. And then, the people that usually try to go in there, they'll just kind of give them a lot of negative energy. They would argue them up and down. They'll start lying on the internet like nobody can hear the playback. All kind of stuff like that. So even if you talk to people on your level, to be honest, in this space or on YouTube or whatever, people even offline, people act, they like to argue. They don't like the fact that you actually know what you're talking about, so they'll talk as if they're an expert, like you're a financial analyst, and then they'll talk as if they're a financial analyst because they just have a fragile ego, and you destroyed their ego by you being the expert and them not being the expert. So you're dealing with a lot of weakness. All I see, I look at it very much. I look at it like, power plays, like chess. When I see weakness, I just see weakness. I might not point it out or anything like that, but I see it. And when you see weakness, you might not necessarily yourself be able to exploit that weakness, but somebody else is. That's all you need to know. If you're that weak minded, that you are fragile to the point where you don't like to be wrong and all of that, that plays out in society. That plays out in certain financial decisions, certain personal decisions, and that puts you in a point where you're non-competitive, or you're very uncompetitive. And that that being said, if you, let's say, if you'd starting a company, you're gonna have to talk to a lot of people. You're gonna have to deal with a lot of people. You're gonna have a lot of clients. And if you have certain personality flaws and traits that allow you that keep you in a bubble to where you can't talk to anybody, you can't really communicate with anybody. It's just going to put you in a position where you're just not going to excel. That's why a lot of people actually fail in business. Even to be honest, I'm still trying to work out the kinks with my own business and life and everything like that. There's certain things you need to do. Like for example, you have to look at what people really want. As far as business, you got to sell people what they want. Even if you was a drug dealer, right? You don't go to the block with what people don't want. You go to the block with what people want. So it's the same thing. Like, whatever you're doing, I found out people want business, people want they want to be more healthier. They do want to talk about relationships. It just depends on what format you got. You can People will tell you what they want to listen to, what they want to hear. And if you going against that by just talking about whatever you want to talk about, it's not gonna work. It just a tough. I know it's a tough fucking thing to pill to swallow, but it's just like I said. I mean, just the analogy with going hitting the block. People ain't gonna buy what they want. You know what I'm saying? It's just how it is. Doesn't matter how you sell it. You know, people want what they want. I had to charge my phone up real quick. You know, see what I forgot to charge this bad boy. And the thing is that it's tripped out. I was watching this. I'm watching Saints and the Falcons. The Falcons are seem pretty dominant against the Saints. Carr, if Carr was black, let's just call it, he would have been out the league. He would have been on somebody else's practice squad. But okay, um, you know, it is what it is. He's still in the league. Okay, great. Not great for the Saints at this present time. So the thing is that basically, I was thinking about how a lot of players, they get these millions of dollars, and then they just basically lose a lot of it after they stop playing. They lose that money. They're no longer able to make that money after they retire, and it slowly kind of drains away from them. And I'm just thinking, and then I was thinking about the NBA players that got caught basically committing insurance fraud or health insurance fraud with the NBA. And I think some of those players are either facing time or something like that. I don't really know what happened with them, but that's gotta hurt, man. That's gotta really be embarrassing, and also you're trying to extend that money. You haven't controlled your emotions, your expenses. Because see, a lot of things is not just money related. Everything is just like everything is in the world. It's psychological, it's emotional, and it's physical. And you got to control your emotions. That's one of the major things I would say. Controlling your emotions and your wants and desires is probably the hardest thing that most people um, have to do. And that relates into the money world. See, like it's a book. It's called The Psychology of Money. It is a very, very. I think I have it on PDF or something like that. But it's a very good book because it breaks down the psychology of how people spend money, how people think in regard to money. It's really, really deep, man. It goes beyond just paper. You know, it's it's way beyond paper. You know, it's just a lot going on. Let's see here. I actually used to go prospecting at the NBA draft at Barclays Center. The young boys never be wanting a financial advisor. Yeah, Keon Doolin's about to go to jail for insurance fraud. It's a slippery slope, those, because health insurance is itself a scam. Yeah, that is true. Because it's like in case shit, like Chris Rock, I believe, man. And you know what? That shit is crazy. Because like, oh my fucking god, damn. See, Chris Rock real quiet, and I ain't gonna lie. Like, I mean, he said what he said, but just think, all of this shit came out with Will Smith and a lot of other people. It's like, I mean, this shit crazy, man. But it's like that slap just made it worse. It's like a lot of people were saying that smack was a call for help, like a cry for help. But it's I mean, this shit's crazy. I don't think it's no coming back from this shit. But yeah, that's a sidebar. But um, yeah, man, it's 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 a lot to this money, man. This shit is crazy, man. A lot of shit I don't really talk about. I really don't talk about a lot of this shit, man. Cause I really like, it's kind of like tinfoil. It goes into kind of tinfoil hat talk a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you, like, controlling your emotions. Like, I ain't gonna lie, like, just kind of changing my diet, it did help me, like, with that. It is helping me more, better control my emotions, because I don't hate on nobody. I mean, I know people, might have, they really don't, they might not be really feeling me. I understand that, but even that, I don't think about that. I try to, void that out. Um, I don't have any, I don't have any hatred like that. Like, it's like when I joined a panel couple, like a day yesterday. It's like these guys, man, they ain't look like they was, happy. Like, look, this guys was like really upset, it seems. And it's like, I was on Citizen Lose panel, and they were talking about Theo, and I'm like, I mean, I don't, the dude was on there. He was in one of the guys that was in Theo's class. I was in Theo's class, and I was just stating my case because he had some problems talking or whatever, explaining himself. And I was like, I mean, the dude is helping people get certificates. He's helping some people get jobs. He's telling people like it is. Like, Theo told me, he said, what you make, I make that in a bonus in 1 year, from working or whatever. Like, it's just some people, if you're on a higher level, if you got somebody to help you bring you up and tell you like it is, you could take it and be like, I'm offended. Why you gonna talk to me like that? Or are you gonna take it and be like, okay, can I be on a level with this guy or even close to it? I mean, the thing is this, right? It's a guy I know that's above Theo. That's a multimillionaire that I don't even disclose or whatever, you know. And basically, dude got a felony, and he still make like he makes millions of dollars in IT. But you know what I'm saying? Like, basically, it's like, dude, um, a lot of people don't like the motherfucker that make more than you. I'm just, man, I get it from my job, man. When I told the dude how I make basically $12 more than he did, no, actually, yeah, yeah, $12 more an hour than he did, and he basically like worked really, really hard. He does a lot of shit. I mean, I work hard too, but he shipping boxes and shit, doing tickets, shipping out, stuff for the customers. I mean, for the client. It's like, man, I I'll never do that again, man. I promise you. I'll never tell nobody how much I make. Even if you get cool and all that, because people get cool with you and all that just so you can, show your hand, you know. You say facts. Emotions are not truth. Your feelings will be fleeting from day to day. Man, shoot. Man, I in the old Japanese days, and a lot of different parts of the, it's still like that. It's just you really can't, you really don't see it a lot, but you do it. You see the news stories and stuff like that. I ain't gonna lie, man. I put Chicago in there, but in back in the Japanese days, like the feudal system times, like the samurais, before the ninjas kind of took them over. Basically, man, it was like it was might. Might was right. If you was the fastest swordsman, basically you ruled through that sword. You know, people had people that were not swordsmen and just regular folks. That's why you go to Japan. Those people are very 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 nice, very congenial, very respectful, because they had to be to survive. You couldn't be disrespectful, man. It'd be off with your half of your body or your head. Literally, they had sharp katanas, which I gotta. That reminds me, I gotta get me a katana set in practice. But they had katanas, man, that would cut your. The katana is one of the sharpest swords in there is. I mean, like it wasn't no you be disrespectful to somebody. You had to show extreme reverence and extreme respect, or your life depended on it. They had the emperor. Emperor, of course, had his court. They still have an emperor over there. The prime minister, somebody shot him in the head. I think what, a year or two ago. Um, but the thing is that you have to control your emotions if you're a sword fighter. I'm almost certain of it. You don't have control of your emotions. Yo that'll be your last time, living. You know, and yeah, it's true. Don't be a slave to money. If you a slave to money, you gonna you know you're gonna make it basically control you. Yes, working smart is the way. I mean, if hard work would make you a millionaire, right? You would you would basically like the people that work in like I say UPS, they would be millionaires. I used to work in UPS, man. We used to live because it's like freight is anything over 150 pounds. We used to live like everything up to 150. Man, if you got a weight problem and you've never worked for UPS, man, you could just go work for UPS, man, and just work part time. Work to like they have like a midnight shift. I think like from like 10 to like I think 1 in the morning or something, or 2 in the morning, or whenever you can. And you work that shift, man, unloading, man, shoot, man, it's like you gonna lose some weight because it's a workout. Because like you gonna lift what is called bulk items, and that's like basically heavy stuff that's over 150, that's close to 150, and everything in between. And you're not going to be a millionaire from that job. You can work your way up, but you actually picking all them heavy boxes and whatnot is not going to make you a millionaire. But yeah, it's the thing where as what I was saying about these athletes that make this money, they just they just don't know what to do. Like, I mean, you just think I didn't know what to do like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like that. I mean, I knew a little bit, probably more than they did, but I still didn't have things, the understanding I have now, and I think that a lot of times I don't think that's why people get money or whatever, but a lot of times because you're probably not ready for it. But the thing is that, yeah, back to what I was saying, yeah, people are very, very angry. Like I say, all I could do, you know, all I did was, basically focus in on the aspect of trying to overcome brokenness. And that just angered a lot of people. I mean, that alone angered a lot of people. I talked about all aspects of brokenness, how a lot of people are broke, and it's hard to overcome brokenness. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy to overcome brokenness. A lot of times people look at these rappers. A lot of these rappers rent jewelry, they rent clothes. They have a friend that has a bunch of exotic cars. They rent those. They rent the house that they shoot the video in, and they go back to an apartment when the video shoot is over. So it has you conceptualize that you seeing this rapper and he's living the life that you want to live. The women in the video are not his women, they're models, they're paid models. Okay. So you thinking, oh, I want to live like this guy, but he's not even living like that. It's just it's basically a movie. It's a music video, which is a short movie, and it's based off of entertainment. And you don't conceptualize that because we're so taught to view everything that we see and believe it as being true, but not understanding what actually goes on. You know, these guys, when young impressionable minds, young people don't understand, oh, they're renting this. This is all of this is props, and then they're going out to do certain things to try to get what this rapper has that's not even his. He's just a regular dude in an apartment trying to become a up and coming rapper. And it's like, again, young people out going trying to do all kind of stuff so they can be like their favorite rapper who does not have everything that he talks about on the video. So it's like, then what? You go out, you get pinched, you know, and then you realize you've been had, you've been hoodwinked. Yeah, a lot of people used to work at UPS. What Biggie say, UPS is, don't be mad, UPS is hiring. I mean, we used to call it United Postal Slaves. Or no, United Parcel Slaves. And the reason they say what Brown can do for you is because most of the people that's working there, the package handlers, are black and brown. So yeah. Even though, I mean, of course, I got like on a black watch. I'm definitely not black as far as the actual color. I'm definitely brown. Now I've seen some black people though. My dad is probably um more dark, definitely more darker than I was than I am. But yeah, he's probably more closer than I am for sure. But yeah. UPS, man, is a company that you should study because they make quite a bit of money. I think their stock pays a dividend. I'm not sure, but a lot of people before they IPO, they gave their workers a bunch of stock, and a lot of those people sold that stock, and they didn't get the benefits of it. A lot of those companies before they IPO, they give their workers some stock, but I think they stopped doing that. They only give the executive stock options to get them hired onto the company. But then that goes into, yeah, you can there's like job boards, job listings for startups. And one of the incentives of working for a startup is that some of the startups do give you the opportunity to get some um, pre-IPO stock. And if the company goes public, then you can exercise that. But a lot of you got to understand, a lot of startups do not go to no IPO. A lot of startups fail. Business is very, very competitive, very, very tough. It's very sensitive to any errors or mistakes. One mistake can fold a company just like that. And I'm talking a multi-million dollar company with funding. I mean, you see what happened to WeWork. WeWork was set to IPO, and they had to cancel the IPO because there was some trouble in accounting as far as the actual value of the company was questionable. But the thing is that WeWork went through billions of dollars in investment capital because it's basically poorly managed. There the blame goes top. It doesn't go bottom. It's top. It's just like um, you could even say with NFL. The blame is most always at the top. The CEO on down. It's always going to be like that too. Unless you just have some role worker that just came in. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but most of the time it's top down is where the blame lies for any problems or issues or things that didn't work out. But it's extremely competitive. But the thing is that with WeWork, um, again, it was the management's problems. They had a lot of issues that they didn't work out for whatever reason. Whatever the reason was, whether it be blowing through money, whatever the reason was, that led to their filing bankruptcy. And it goes with even sports. Like I remember I was doing Uber and somebody can't got in my car, was a Cub fan. I was driving in the Chicagoland area, and I was like, this dude, man, this Rickett dude, Ricketts. I forgot what they involved with as far as their family business, the Ricketts. But when they bought the Cubs, I saw what they were doing. They were spending money. They were spending money. I'm like, okay, trying to maximize their value. They had, okay, so Wrigley Field used to be very, very close to the properties around it. And so if you had a three flat, two flat building, 4 unit building, whatever building you had, you could actually just watch the game from your top of your building, literally. Like they call it rooftop uh you know rooftop properties or whatever. And actually what people used to do was, it's like they had a building, had it in the family for some years. It's mainly white folks, okay. um they would just take it a step further. It wasn't just them watching the game. They used to charge people because Wrigley Field a lot of times would be packed, because it's like the Cubs is like America's team. Okay, it's like one of the historical franchises in the MLBPA, like the baseball history. You got the Cubs, you got the Red Sox, you got the Yankees. The Cubs in the National League is like one of those. It's like America's team, kind of like the Cowboys. Um, and then there's other things that's involved with that too. I'll put y'all on game if y'all listening. So that C stands for conservative. So a lot of conservatives, they like the Cubs. That's like code word, And I picked that up. So if you're a Cubs fan, that's a secret way for saying you're a conservative. That also, or you can even say further. I'm not even gonna say racist. I assume most white people are racist. I mean, it's just kind of goes with the whole thing. But that C for conservative is for conservative. It's just kind of similar to one of the reasons why a lot of white people wear New Balances. So just all I'll say is just look up um, New Balance. Um, just look up. Let me see, white nationalism and New Balances. So yeah, I know this. I know these things, man. As far as I know these little culturalistic little things or whatever as far as branding and you know different brands and stuff. But yeah, so back to the rooftops. So these rooftop owners would rent out seats. They actually even had seats on top of their rooftop. So the owner of the Ricketts, I forgot his name. Um, the owner of the Cubs, he basically put a big sign. It was like a vote. It was a big deal with the city. He wanted to put a bigger stadium sign and renovate the entire stadium. And I don't know if he used city funds to do that. Not really sure, but basically he spent a lot of money and got a lot of money in the stadium to basically block out the rooftops to where they can no longer watch the game for free. And the rooftop owners was livid. They was pissed, you know. And I mean, I'm talking about they, pretty much having a citywide meeting about it. The alderman was involved. The mayor was involved at the time. I think that was who was the mayor at the time. I think it was like Mayor Daley Jr. But basically, he got it done. He got what he wanted. They built a whole bunch of stuff around the new stadium, and they put up this sign, and they blocked out the rooftops so they couldn't see the game for free. Then he spent money on drafting players. He spent money on getting talent to the Cubs. The rest is history. A franchise that ain't had a World Series in over 100 years, done, basically with the in a span of like a couple years, like a few years, went right to the World Series. Okay, I mean, we got good and made it to the World Series and won. Same thing with sports. Same thing with the Bears. That's the Bears' problem. The Bears' problem is they cannot get outside of management. The management is why the Bears suck so bad. As far as they trying to get players and stuff like that, but the management is in the way of their decisions. Got bad management. Basically the Bears is a is basically kind of similar to a D league. A lot of players go to the Bears and get good and go to other teams. But yeah, it's bad management. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on with a lot of things. You always blame management for the most part. Even if they hiring bad, employees, that's management's fault. You got these bad employees people complaining about them. And what a lot of times, okay, for example, when you got, a lot of complaints when it comes to these different franchises and businesses, like, for example, Popeyes and whatnot, in Walmart, a lot of what the management says is we don't have enough talent. Nobody want to work. Nobody want to work these jobs, so we have to deal with what we have to deal with, and that's what you hear. And it is true. It is true to a certain extent, but I'll say I'll say that it's a workaround to that, meaning that people really don't want to get fired. You got to let people go. It doesn't matter. You can't say, "Oh, we can't find nobody," because you can always find people. People always looking for work. It's just for whatever reason you wanna hire these people and just be lazy about it and have them work and just basically drive a lot of your customers away because you got bad employees. And all you got to do is basically you know put a we are hiring sound in sign in, and basically start hiring people. And then at the same time you hiring people and they're getting trained up, you just slowly fire the problem employees. And then they're gonna get a point, and then no, this is what's gonna happen on the back end. Those employees are going to tell, because a lot of toxic people and negative people, they know other negative people. They're gonna say, I got fired because girl, I got fired because of my attitude. Man, I got fired, man, because I was showing up late, and I was eating food, man, all day, and they gonna tell their friends that why they got fired is going that business is gonna have a reputation of, now I don't care if it's even Popeyes, that they don't play. They gonna let you go. And people that work there, that hired, that get on, they gonna know that this won't be tolerated, and that they're gonna get fired. Because you gotta understand, while you letting that chick that is cussing customers out, giving customers bad experiences, in the restaurant, all of that, she doesn't really care about that job to this point where she's allowing her bad behavior to reflect on her employment. So you firing her, she goes and does whatever she does, and she moves on, and you get somebody else there. So if you tolerate it, you're basically tolerating everybody else to be negative, everybody else to do whatever they want to do. And then now you have a bad reputation. And here's the thing, unfortunately, okay, if you're Popeyes, of course, people gonna just come and deal with it and get your food. But if you got like a small little upstart restaurant, those bad employees could be the difference of you going out of business. Unfortunately, in that situation, it's a situation where it's top down and bottom up, because your employees on the bottom working for your business is driving customers away. And you got some people that they're just haters. They know that their bad service is going to close your business, and you may not be wise enough to think, or to import. You might put a lot of things past things and be like, oh, that don't matter, I can't really find help, or whatever the case is, because you don't really know. Like, human resource is a um is a discipline within itself. It's very, very important. A lot of people don't really even talk about human resource. You really want to pay attention to the stuff that people don't really talk about. One of the things people don't really talk about is human resources. If you can master human resources, you actually become, that's a way that you could become a millionaire. For example, I'll go back to the restaurant though, and people, well, I kind of said what I said already, but basically, when it comes to human resources, that's how you can become a millionaire. Because, for example, it's construction companies. They basically, they're a construction company, but they don't do any work themselves. They just have a team of contractors. Some of those contractors, or most of them, or a lot of them, are actually illegal immigrants. But it doesn't matter to a lot of people. They just want to get their work done. So what happens is you'll have basically a guy that just he has money. Doesn't take that much. He has enough money. You can actually get into this. He basically has the labor force. He's got a phone number. He may or may not have a website. He does advertising on the website. Wherever, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or no, not even Facebook Marketplace. He's got a Facebook page or whatever. And basically, he just has quite a bit of contractors that they do regular work for him, and he pays them to do the work. And when you call him, he just he gets a schedule. And when you actually have someone come over to give you an estimate, it's some Mexicans. You called a white guy, but it's some Mexicans that show up, and they come out and do the estimate, and then later he calls you back to basically give you the price. And if you accept the price, the same Mexicans that came and gave you the estimate, they're going to do the work. He charged you 6 grand, they're going to get paid 3 grand and be happy to get it. And he just made 3 grand from basically answering a phone call or two or three or whatever. And that's human resources right there. You know, I mean, that's a general idea of it. Is more human resources is more to it than that. But I'll go back to the restaurant example. That restaurant, that's one of the reasons why a lot of small business owners, including black small business owners with restaurants, retail stores, retail establishments, whatever, actually go out of business. Because when you have a small business, a lot of times you have low capital, low startup capital. You don't have that much opportunity for failure, such as anything, any little small things even can add up to where you're not making any money. You're not becoming profitable. You're not making enough money to really pay your bills, to pay your employees. And then slowly but surely, you start going out of business because it could be just you having bad employees that are giving your customers a bad experience. One of the things in business that you have, and I've said this over and over again, is two things. You have customer service, and a lot of people, you can even say the way they act online, the way they talk to people and stuff like that, you can tell these people have bad customer service skills. Okay. They don't know how to really talk to people. And it shows. Now, the thing is that you either have that or your product or service that you're offering to people. With one being good, uh, you might be able to deal with it. People might be able to deal with it. But you got to understand, if you just, let's just say you're one chicken, you got a chicken restaurant. If you just one chicken restaurant opening up, and it's you're struggling, basically struggling upstart, you could have some really good chicken and some bad employees that give your customers a very, very bad experience. And you can, some people will deal with it. They'll definitely complain. They'll give you bad reviews based off of the bad customer service experience, long waits, bad customer service, right? But after a while, it's only so much that you can deal with as a customer that you're going to stop coming back. Okay. And that's where a lot of where employees fail. And it's not even them failing themselves, it's them having bad employees and tolerating bad customer service, not wanting to fire people and all of that type of stuff, not even knowing how to hire people, how to interview people. You know, they don't teach you that. A lot of people when they start a business, which certainly you don't have to go to business school to start a business. It's not required, but it helps. But it's like, yeah, when you're starting up, you don't have the cushion. You need capital to be able to survive in business as well as personal life. But I'm just talking about business. But you don't have that capital to survive when you're just starting usually. And it's like, okay, for the same example, Popeyes is notorious for having bad customer service, employees that have bad customer service. I mean, that's their reputation. That's literally their reputation. But people want Popeyes because of the biscuits, because of the food, or whatever they offer. So they're willing to look past the bad customer service, some of them. I mean, I'm not going to say all, but quite a few, because basically they have a product, a service. I mean, basically a product, which is the food. People are willing to overlook the bad customer service. Like, it's just what people do. A lot of different restaurants are like that, and a lot of, even in the hood, living in the hood, people have, it's something about living in the hood that comes with, a lot of times you're going to deal with people with bad customer service. For whatever reason, that's what you're going to have to deal with. I'm not going to go into it, but a lot of people understand when you're dealing with people in the hood, it's something that it just comes with being in the hood, and that is bad customer service. And a lot of times that might be harder to kind of navigate, because kind of in a way, to tap into it a little bit, a lot of people, because they live in a hood, they're going through a lot of things and a lot of frustrations, and they are frustrated, and they bring that frustration to work, unfortunately. It's really kind of no outlet for them, so they bring that to work. So uh, it's kind of hard to navigate that. But a lot of what people do is that they work in the actual business, and that's why a lot of times people, when they start a business, as far as a restaurant, they're at the business like 24/7 whenever it's open, because they being there, they know, okay, the employees know if the owner's there. You got even sometimes owners being there and they tolerate the bad customer service of the employees, but most of the time, if the owner's there, he's not going to tolerate the bad customer service, or he's going to come step in and kind of mediate the situation, because you don't want to have no, customers that are complaining and stuff like that. So, and then after the customer leaves, of course, he will self correct the employee and tell him or her that you cannot talk to people like that. I have a business to run, and that business pays you, and it helps feed my family. So I cannot have you, you know, cussing people out or disrespecting people. And then certainly those people might, that person might be like, you know what, well, I quit, because they know that they can't control themselves. And it is people that do live in the hood that do have better customer service skills, that do need a job. And a business owner, it's your job to find those people, and hire them. And you set some type of standard for yourself, because money is power. And even if it's a little money can go a long way. Even if it's little amounts of money, if you just getting $12 an hour, that money, that's better than nothing. You know, you can do something with $12 an hour, believe it or not. But the thing is that people feel like, all right, I get this little amount, then I'm just gonna, protest at every customer that comes my way, that I only make $12 an hour or whatever. So that's not acceptable. That's not something that you should accept as a business owner. Again, that's one of the reasons why businesses close and go out of business. So that's something that people have to be mindful of. But it's a thing where a lot of people kind of are business averse. Everybody's talking about their job, their job, their job, their job, because basically, not too long ago, black people were slaves. So they were taught to be slaves, and they just kind of basically, they just generationally just kept handing down job. That's where that comes from. Not talking about business, being business averse, being even anti-business, and to a certain extent. And the funny thing with that is, you know, the bit like I said again, business is like the board. You cannot avoid it. Either you're in business, either way you look at it. If you work for someone that pays you, guess what? Guess what? How they pay you? They pay you from basically the revenue that they make from their business. And the thing is that one of the greatest ways to start a business and to get free education is to actually work for one and actually learn how they conduct their business, what kind of have some type of insight into the company you work for and how their business systems run, and actually uh create the same type of model. Take that model, maybe tweak it a little bit, and then you start some business that operates similarly or scales to where you can actually run it with the limited amount of capital that you have. And that's how you do it. That's how a lot of businesses start. Like, for example, Allstate was started by two employees that used to work for State Farm, and then they took that knowledge and they started an insurance company. And they're only the, second biggest, largest insurance company in North America, um, behind State Farm. So yeah, that's how big that is. Business is very very much a lot of different arms and legs and units. Uh, but thing is that it's very serious. It's you got to really pay attention to it. Um, the One of the best ways to make money, the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki, is being a business owner and an investor. That's a way that a lot of these ex MBA, ex employees can make money. Being having some type of business, because basically after they kind of retire, you know, put up the cleats, put up the basketball shoes, they can go basically into business. They can go right it. They could go right from the NBA to their business. Alonzo said earlier that he uh he was recruiting some NBA players that was at the NBA draft. You know, that's probably a good idea. I would say to I like to think that I kind of wish I was kind of linked up with some pro athletes because I do a lot of different things. A lot of NBA players and NFL players they kind of hip to the whole give me some money thing and I'll invest it for you. Because a lot of players got duped by outside investors. I was thinking about that actually today because when I was thinking about the NBA players, and then, especially pro athletes, a lot of them were deceived by other people, and it just kind of comes to mind like when you do have money, you do have to verify, the person is who they say they are. And I'm gonna be honest, Lonzo is definitely who he say he is. If an NBA player just put $1 million with Alonzo into basically, I think he calls it a UI or something like that. Basically, basically a whole life policy where you contribute into the policy, and basically you don't have to worry about collecting cans when you retire. If you got $1 million, or basically $100 million contract, um, you got $100 million contract, and you put up at least $1 million. What's $1 million? That's one car, right? That's like two cars. That's like a Ferrari and a Lambo. So you take that money, you put it into, I think it's a UIL or something like that, or some type of whole life policy. Tuck that $1 million away. That's money you don't touch. And worst case scenario, uh, you don't have to worry about, okay, 60 years old, now I got to go join a retirement, city retirement housing authority because basically I blew through all my money on booze and bitches and Benzes. You don't have to worry about that. At least you can have enough money where you can kind of live a regular life, and get some type of contributions every month from your, retirement that you got tucked away. Of course, to be honest, the reality of that situation is people like that if that's all they have left, they'll do whatever it takes to just basically take their money out. Then they'll blow through that because it's very difficult for people to scale down. Once you scale up, you usually know how to keep scaling, or at least try to make some money, to where you can continuously make some money. Some people struggle with that too, but usually people that scale up, they know how to kind of make some money. Basically, they figured out a way, different ways that they can make some money. People that just get a whole bunch of money all at once, and whether it be some pro athlete, let's get a contract. If they weren't taught, which most of them were not taught, financial literacy, or even how to invest, goes beyond financial literacy. Of course, how to start a business, or how to, any type of business education. That money, they will just blow it. They will, when you get on that level, you're actually hanging out with, if most of them are hanging out with rappers, celebrities, other celebrities. They themselves, if they're, pretty good player, even if they're not a good player, they're hanging out with the other players that's good because they're on the team, and they're living like a celebrity. But it's a short-lived process They're spending lots of money, and then basically, once that income dries up, it's over. A lot of people don't think about the what ifs. I'm the type of person I think about the what ifs, and I do that naturally because I play. One of the reasons is that helps me is I play chess. I think about the what ifs. Okay, what if I lost? Okay, well, I get this most likely in this scenario, which I didn't get before, but I still won't make as much as my job. What will I do? What do I need to do now if to prepare myself? And one of those things is I need to really get into some type of business system. I need to create some type of business system. That's what I've been thinking about for quite a while right now. I've been trying to come up with some type of business system, some type of opportunity, some type of way to kind of navigate this business world. I got a few ideas. I got some big ideas. I got some small ideas. Um, and those are some things that I will probably try to work on, uh, and see what comes from it, because you never know, and definitely you got to look the part. You have to dress the part. You have to get some type of suit. You have to get some type of business wear to where people, when you talk to them, they can kind of gauge that you are a respectable individual. You're a responsible individual. You got to kind of look the part. You can't be wearing jeans and sneakers and a shirt to a business meeting. Have to wear some type of suit, some type of dress where you look the part. I'm not saying you got to have a custom tailored suit or anything like that. I would say at least a suit jacket. You don't necessarily even have to. I don't think you even have to wear a tie. I would dress with a dress suit. You can have basically a collared shirt or basically a dress shirt and matching suit pants and basically casual shoes, basically dress shoes, I would say. And that's kind of business casual still, but you can wear a suit if you want to wear a tie, custom suit. That's fine. I mean that might be okay. I don't think you would have to in that scenario if you're trying to give some type of uh meeting presentation or something like that. But you can. I don't see anything wrong with it. But the thing is that you're gonna have to compete if you want to make it in business. That's the whole point. That's the meat and potatoes. And you know, I I know a lot of people, they have a lot to say about business and everything like that. And all I can say is ask these people what have they done in business and get a response and wait for a response. And that's what I would say, to ask if you listen to somebody talking about business, you know, and they're talking about it on a panel or whatever. Ask them what have they done in business. What have you done in business? Have you had a business? No, I haven't had a business. I just work a job. Well, that person is speaking in a tone where they're like an expert, but actually they're speaking in theory because they have no experience in the matter. So you gotta separate personalities and fandom and cliques and all of that stuff from reality. Those that have actually been in the field, in the war, in the battle, are more experienced than those that have not. I know that's maybe
hard for you to believe because you believe in you turn on a computer and it's very similar to you to Fortnite. It's like everything is a big video game, just make believe, pretend, pretend world, But yeah, it's actually people that actually have had a business, they've been successful, they closed up shop and went back to the civilian world to work or the regular business or workforce. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you have people that very similar to me actually, but they didn't necessarily make it in business either. They had failed business. Business is very, very tough. Most people, you're gonna fail. Most likely, you're gonna fail in business. As far as the odds is against you, a lot of times people will have some type of business failure, unless you absolutely cover all aspects of business and you have the capital to basically maintain and you're disciplined enough to maintain that capital till you turn a profit, you're most likely going to fail in business. And especially without mentorship, oh man, the ads the odds are just stacked up against you. A lot of times you do need some type of business mentor to just kind of help you show you the ropes. Quick phone call to explain something. They tell you, okay, this is what you should do. Uh, and you have to really, to be honest, you got to really follow that person, what they say. You can tweak it the way you want to tweak it, but if you don't follow what they say, then it's like it's really like kind of counterintuitive. So yeah, it is possible you can make it. It is possible. Only 4% of businesses make it over $1 million as far as revenue. So out of all of the businesses that from the person that talks to you about their business and all, I'm talking about all businesses in America, only 4% of them make over $1 million. And that's just $1 million. When you probably go to 10 million, it's probably only like probably less than 1% that make over that. So it's like, yeah, business is very, very tough. People, even white people have people that don't like them. Even white people have other people that don't like them. Believe it or not, it's like white people don't like white people, man. And then other people, So it's like getting people to like you or getting people to come into your business and everything. It's very, very tough. It's fair. Yeah, you gotta deal with reality too in business. You gotta really, really deal with reality in business. If anything else, you gotta deal with reality in business, because, like for example, the reality of dealing with business in America, if you're black, most of the time, just like everybody else, you're gonna well, not even everybody else, but most of the time, you're going to have to deal with black customers. I'm just keep it a real deal Holyfield with you. Most of the time, your customers are going to be black. This reason why that is because just like it is hard for you to get that job being black, a lot of white people, they struggle with racism and they do not want to support you because it's just kind of like they don't want they really don't want you to have money, man. I'm just keep it I'm just keep it all the way 100, man. They don't want you to have any money, man. They will, like, if you they will support little niche businesses that take off. If you get the support of, let's just say you get support of like black people, you get the support enough capital to where you got a lot of money and you can survive and you still making money, they will jump in then because it's like you you're pretty popular. Um, you know, like for example, like the turkey leg or whatever. I think it's the turkey hut or something like that. She has a niche, and I think it was like some business like that or whatever. They tried to cancel her. I don't know something. And then the black people came in and stepped in to support her, and they stood out in line. Like you really, to be honest, you need that type of support or something close to it to really survive in business. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100% with you. Even my computer shop. I mean, of course, it was in a black neighborhood, predominantly black neighborhood. I had I had about two white customers. One of them was the owner of the building where who I paid rent. I was installing cameras for him, and I was making money doing that out of my rent. Okay, I had like basically worked out something to where I did the cameras for rent money that I owed him. So, yeah, it's just that's one of the biggest things people don't really want to talk about. They don't want to talk about how black people they give all their money away to everybody else with no problems, almost hardly whatsoever. But we don't really get support when we start businesses. I promise you. You damn near have to be, you gotta have like something that people really want. You gotta have enough strong following, backing, financial support, financial capital to where your business is kind of like an elite business, and um, it's kind of like protected by capital to be able to make money. Like you can, people like the product. It's enough people that like the product to where I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter that you're black owned, but people will buy it based off of it being a product that they like and enjoy and that they want. But if you're struggling upstart, just not going to get that support like that. I've had people, that basically, as soon as they heard my voice, they wanted to cancel a service call because it just is what it is, man, and it's something that, unfortunately, I understand it, but I got all these other people that I'm surrounded by that they go out their way and they support other businesses and they have a it's kind of like basically like this, right? It's like the trade deficit with China. China was basically used to basically having an imbalance with trade, and I think it's still like that. I'm not sure, but basically China, they basically export a lot of merchandise. A lot of things are exported from China, but China does not import a lot of things from America. It's an imbalance between what China imports, what they export. They export way more than what they import. So the thing is that's why, okay, it goes back to Donald Trump and the whole his barking with China with saying, wait, hold on, we got to do something about this imbalance here. You're gonna have to buy more of our stuff. We're buying everything of yours. That's kind of how it's the same thing that white people do and other people do with black people's businesses. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Black people that are scared of business or even operating a business is what you face. If you got a business already, you already know that. Now, how you operate, how you deal with that, you know, I don't know, but I was able to, I was able to survive. And I talked about how I was able to survive my business. Unfortunately, the thing about things with people and channels and what they say and stuff like that, it's a lot of information out there. I get it. It's information overload. it's a lot of content out there. And I understand, I get it. Uh, a lot of people are undervalued. A lot of people don't want to pay for whatever reason. But the thing is that it doesn't really matter to the person that's speaking, because it's like at the end of the day, what I know, I've already made money off of what I know, and most likely I will continue to make money off of what I know. If you don't value what I know, I don't really too much care about that, because it's like, what does that benefit me for me caring that you don't value what I know? It doesn't. And I know a lot of times, people don't, listen for whatever reason. They don't see no value in it. They don't understand what you're doing, as far as maybe what your content is all about, you're all over the place. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't really matter, because I understand how things work, as far as, there's a financial hierarchy in this country. It's a financial hierarchy in a lot of different countries all over the world. Uh, I really don't care, man, about like what somebody don't listen to or not. I mean, I know the stats, I know the statistics, I know the struggles that people have to deal with in America, have to deal with even in the world. It's even worse other parts of the world. Life is very, very tough, and I get it. But if you're so emotional and hurt by what people said to you in the past, or you have some type of demonic notion or narcissistic blockage, to where you have a one-sided approach to people that like you and people that don't like you, fuck them and all that. I mean, all I can say is, how's that working out for you? That's all I can say. How's that working out? I mean, people that I see that really have that bad, it's not really working out well for them. That's all I can. That's what I could see, and I'm not the only person that sees that. Okay, I'm not the only person at all that sees that's not working out. It's really not working out. And you said how it's not working out. People can see how it's not working out. That being said, I don't know. I mean, I put a post on Facebook, and I said it's never too late to get your head out your ass. And I think, I definitely think that that's something that, you could always, it's never too late.